Good evening. I'll call the meeting of March 4th, 2025 to order. Madam Clerk, could you call a roll of the council?
Councilman Fogarty.
Yeah.
Councilman Lawson.
Yeah.
Council Vice President Rico.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Souza. Council President Rodrick.
Here. Records show there are 4 members present at the time. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God. Yeah. Thank you. We will hold the executive session until the end of the meeting, and at this time we will have a presentation and ask Council Vice President Rigo to make that presentation.
Thank you, Mr. President and fellow council people. We're here tonight to recognize Principal Jan Cooney of St. Margaret's School. As we know, St. Margaret's is a 70-year institution in this great community of ours. And through the years, there's been great leadership. One person who comes to mind is our good friend, Jack Resendiz. And what Principal Cooney has done has brought back what Principal Resendiz did and principals before him. I'm fortunate to be an alumnus of St. Margaret's, and there were some great principals and pastors there. And in the last couple of years, Principal Cooney has brought St. Margaret's back, I should say, and also has elevated the school to a new dimension. And I am very fortunate in my ward to have St. Margaret's as well as 2 other great elementary schools led by 2 great principals as well. But tonight we're here to recognize Principal Cooney. And whereas St. Margaret's School, a beacon of educational excellence, nurturing the minds of future leaders with a strong commitment to academic achievement, Principal Jan Cooney has continued that excellence by providing exceptional leadership, unwavering dedication to the students, faculty, and community of St. Margaret's. And whereas under Jan's guidance, St. Margaret's School has seen significant improvements in academic performances with a focus on innovative teaching methods, individual learning, and fostering a love for learning in every student. And whereas Principal Cooney has consistently demonstrated her passion for education by creating an environment where excellence is not just encouraged, but expected. And whereas St. Margaret's School recently achieved remarkable results in the STAR assessment, a widely recognized assessment used to evaluate students' performances in math reading 3 times a year, ranking about 20% above the average for math and reading scores in the Catholic school system of Rhode Island. And whereas Principal Cooney's commitment to the importance of literacy and mathematics has had a transformation effect on the academic achievements of her students, ensuring that they are well prepared to meet the challenges of the future. Therefore, I, Frank Rigo, on behalf of the City Council of East Providence, do hereby honor and commend Principal Jan Cooney for her extraordinary contributions to the academic success of St. Margaret's School and her dedication in advancing literacy. In recognition, therefore, the City of East Providence City Council recognizes and extends our deepest appreciation for her leadership and lasting positive impact she has made on East Providence community. Could I have Principal Cooney come up here? You're welcome, Jen. And you can say a few words.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just say thank you. Education, we know, is such an important thing to all of us, right? All of us with children and all of us with grandchildren and all of us who have neighbors. And it is wonderful to be able to lead a neighborhood school. It's wonderful to be able to lead a Catholic school. And it's even better when we get to see success in the eyes of our students. They've risen to the challenge. I have an amazing faculty. I am gifted with that. So I bring this to them as well. Or it takes a village, and we do have a great school. Thank you.
Ms. Cooney, you mentioned grandchildren, and you happen to look right at me. Are you identifying age or something? I'm good. Great. Congratulations. Congratulations overall from all of us. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you, Council Vice President. All the presentations, nothing tonight. Madam Clerk, if you want to pick up with maybe the consent calendar, I guess.
Consent calendar for discussion and possible vote. A, council adjournments. 1, February 4th, 2025, regular meeting. 2, February 4th, 2025, executive session.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent calendar.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Lawson, seconded by Councilman Fogarty to accept. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have that. 4-0. Thank you.
B, letters. Notice of new property, number 300 Massasoit, map 2.
Oh, we already approved that. That's part of the consent, right?
Yeah, but I didn't.
Does it have to be read? The full
Doesn't have to. Does anyone, has any interest in the council to read them? If not,
I'm fine, Andy, unless you really want to read.
no, it's basic new property numbers and addresses. So we're good. You don't have to read them. Thank you. Before we continue, we do have a council request to move one of the items on the agenda forward at this time. So if there's no objection from anyone on the council, we will move on page 5, number 8. I believe it is page 5 in our agenda, number 8. Yes, page 5. And Councilman Lawson, if you want to give an introduction.
Sure. So this is us advocating for townies who I feel are being a little bit unfairly treated. The backstory is, and then we'll have the folks involved come up and tell their story. Grassy Plains, a couple years back, PJ Dopke, Alan Diello put together Friends of Grassy Plains. They did awesome, got the neighborhood all excited and wanted to upgrade the park. The city got involved, which was awesome. But the initial plan first had like these soccer complexes, and it got very contentious, these public meetings, and there was a lot of back and forth, and both sides kind of went at it, which is a democracy. That's what we do. But what's bothering me is now after the fact, the Donahues, they have a pool in their backyard, and the backyard of them and their abutting neighbors, it's rolling lawns that goes into a line of trees, and there's about 40, 50 feet of woods between their backyards and the actual park. So for some reason now the city is saying we did a survey in their pool, which has been up since 1999, that Al Quachucci, our old building inspector, was very aware of. Now the city's telling them, you got to take that pool down. And it's only about 3 to 5 feet above their survey line. There's also a fence in the back that they put up to kind of block off. We weren't maintaining the brush and stuff under the woods. So they figured we'll make it look nice, and they put some nice plantings up. The city wants them to take that down as well. And they did have a well there. So this has been there for almost 3 decades. So why it's now all of a sudden a problem that the city is taking them to court? We've already spent about $7,500 in legal fees going after these people. And now the mayor wants to put up a fence all across their backyards where you have rolling lawns and then about 50 feet of woods. But for some reason, he wants to put up a fence. I don't know how that's in the best interest of the city. However, so that's why we're here. And I was hoping there could be some kind of compromise, some deal. I heard that they were over the line, but that was like 2 years ago. Then a couple months ago, I get a call from the Donahue's lawyers saying, can you ask the city to slow down the legal action? We're trying to kind of work something out. There was no appetite from the city to work out any kind of compromise. So I wanted to bring this to the council to see if we can advocate for these folks. And I wanted these folks to have a chance to tell their story. So, Mr. Donahue, do you want to come up and give us the history of what's been going on?
Hi, welcome. Just give your name and address for the record.
Yep, Steve Donahue. I live at Tanglewood Drive in Riverside. I've been a resident of Riverside for 63 years now. And my children are raised here. I have 3 children. My wife is also a Riverside person. Prior to buying my property, the previous owner had stated where the property line ended. There's a metal pole in the backyard, and was told that's where the property line ended. And if you look where the pole is, and if you go into the walking path into the park, it lines right up with it. So another neighbor that lived there, he's long gone, had also stated that that's where the line ended. I put the pool up in 1999. The city was well aware of it. Mr. Cartucci was out to visit the site, and he was well aware. And there was nothing to be said. Then I also decided I was going to put up a chain link fence on the left-hand side of my house. That was also in 99. I had the land surveyed prior to installing the fence, to make sure that it was on the line and everything was going to be right. The said pole lined up with the survey at that time. We did put up a wooden freestanding fence across the back, like it was mentioned. We decided after that we want to put, beautify it and put flowers, shrubs, and stuff along the way. And the whole reason we put the fence up was to block the shrubbery, the woods from the, that didn't really look well in the field. So it was like a little privacy, but it looked decent. There was never an issue. And the city had been down multiple times. There's never been an issue. Fast forward to 2021. Mr. De Silva, Mayor De Silva, wanted to put multiple soccer fields in the field behind the house. The meeting was held at Grassy Plains Playground. I know most of you people were well aware of it. So I was the spokesperson for most of the people on Tanglewood Drive. All the neighbors attended and whatnot. I was the loudest and spoke up that we really didn't want soccer fields. Did we want the playground cleaned up and enhanced? Absolutely. Well, the mayor didn't like that. After the meeting, I was able to come up with the original paperwork back in the day when they came up with the grant money to put the park in order and all that, which stated there was to be no organized sports in the playground. I gave the paperwork to a friend of mine, Mr. Lombardi, John Lombardi from Providence, who also reached out to Mr. Marcello to explain to him that I had the paperwork. After that, there's some time passed. Mr. Marcello approached Mr. Lombardi at a retirement party and stated, "We're going after your buddy." So I got a letter close to Christmas that year stating that they were going to take me to court for encroachment. But the funny part is, before that letter came to us, it was all over Facebook from people from the city about me being on city property, and they made it sound like I was out in the middle of the field with the pool and I was polluting city property, which was not true. I was well behind the tree line. And the property line said, as of now, it says that I'm 3 feet over. But if you go by where the pole line is, I'm not. I never would have done any of this if I had known this, because I had paid good money for a survey to come and do it. I do not have his name because that was 26 years ago. I'm sorry, but I mean, 26 years is a hard time to keep hair of paper.
Can I just interject and ask you, so I don't forget later? You had mentioned getting a survey for the side of your house at one point.
No, I surveyed the whole property.
So you had a survey done
Correct.
where the city and your property line was.
Correct.
Okay, you don't have that survey with.
No, I do not, because I had plans drawn up for my house to do work on it.
Sure, no, I understand. I just
And
want to.
It got missed. I don't know where it went between different people that I had looking at making plans for me. It got mixed up somewhere.
Yep, got it.
So we tried to rectify the situation with Mr. Marcello and the mayor. They were unwilling to negotiate with us. We requested to purchase the property. We requested to lease it. We also requested to pay taxes on the property. After we found out that we were over the line, which we never really believed in that. I mean, 26 years, I never would have, and nobody's ever said a word to me. The lawyers went to court for a hearing. I was never able to be present so I could state my case of why I'm in the situation that I'm in. I was told that I had till the end of March to remove the pool and the fence, the shed. After I had filed the appeal, I didn't fill out the paperwork correctly. So that's why I'm in the situation that I'm in. I thought I did because I didn't have a lawyer at the moment when I was filling out the paperwork. Mr. Marcello was able to find the glitch in the paperwork. So I was in the wrong. Which I apologize, but I'm not a lawyer and I thought I filled everything out. And the lawyer that looked at it thought I had everything filled out right, but I missed it out. I had multiple people reach out on my behalf. A lot of people. The mayor said he was not interested in negotiating with me or helping me out. He stated to the people that reached out to him that I'm not helping him. All the neighbors in that neighborhood hate him. And I was told that by some pretty powerful people who was just asking for my behalf. Through further investigation, after the fact, I found out that I haven't been paying taxes on that pool since 2009. We can't go back farther than 2009, but the pool was put in 99, which Mr. Catucci knew about it. There was never an issue. So after that fact, I had reached out to the city council. My councilman in the neighborhood is Rick Lawson. I had told him what was going on. Soon after that, I received a letter stating that they were putting a dumpster in the field behind the house, and they were coming in to remove the fence, the pool, all the shrubbery, which I don't understand that because it's not hurting anything. And I could pay up to 3 times the amount for them to do the work. Soon after that, we were supposed to have a meeting. It was supposed to be brought in here in February. The beginning of February, but I guess there weren't enough people or somebody was sick and they couldn't bring it to executive session. Well, after that, there were a few letters sent out to some of the neighbors that they want to go in and put fences up behind their house. There's never been any surveys done, and not for anything. Most of you people are from East Providence, and no, but there's people, if you want to get really technical, encroaching on city property all over the city. Nothing's ever been done. Nobody's hurting anything. And there's also been cases where people have been able to buy property, and they were purchasing. Some people were purchasing it for $1. I offered to pay money for it. I didn't say give it to me for $1. I offered to pay for it. And I mean, not for anything, they didn't even go all the way around the property where I am. And I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus because I don't think it's right. But at the same time, I don't think it's right that what I'm doing, I didn't hurt anything. I didn't harm anything. The property's been like that since the 60s. If you go over there and you look, most of the houses, the fields of their yards are pushed back. Nobody's hurting anything. So if I am over the line, which they're saying I am, I'm willing to pay for it. I'm willing to pay up to the tree line. I'm not going to put a Taj Mahal over there or anything, but it's all done the way it is. I'm not bothering anybody. So I don't understand why I do know why I'm being targeted, because I shot the soccer fields down. I was the loudest. They're going to say no, but that's pretty much true. There's no soccer fields back there.
So how far over the city line, the property line, does the pool go? Is it the whole pool?
No.
Is it a part of it?
No, maybe 3 feet. But what I'm getting at is, even with the fence back there and the well and the shed, it's still not hurting anything. It's not harming a thing. And I'm willing to pay for it.
So explain the well.
The well, it was a sinkhole in the backyard. So I dug a hole. I didn't bring an excavator in or anything. I dug the hole with the well tool. We went down. We found the water. Put the pipe in. Put the well in. And we're pumping water. You can't use it for anything. You can only use it to water the lawn. I can't have a vegetable garden because the water's contaminated. I'm not doing anything wrong with it. It's just most people have them in their house in the basement. Well, I happened to find it outside, and I figured, well, I'll go for it. It's been there since 1999. I haven't done anything wrong. Other than, if you want to say, I'm on city property, but I'm willing to pay for it. I've been paying for the pool since 2009. Tax dollars. You know, I'm just stating the facts.
So the city did take you to court, and the court did say, according to the survey lines, you are over.
Right.
So they are correct in that. My problem is, why is this so egregious that we're taking this action on something that's been there for 3 decades? And I got pictures here that there's a wall of woods between their backyard and the park. And why would you, to me, it got a little petty when I saw they wanted to take up the shrubbery and stuff like that. It's woods. Why are you trying to take up shrubbery other than to be petty? And then they want to put a fence up. What's the fence for? This is what I'm not understanding and why I want to bring this up. I tried to work with the administration to see if we could come to some kind of thing. No. To say that you don't want to set precedent on selling city property, we Burnside and Hoppin, we just sold city property. So that's kind of nonsensical to use that. So I am here just to let the council know what's going on and to see if there's any appetite to help these guys out, that maybe we can ask the mayor to pull back. And why is this so important that you have to have them take down structures that have been up there for 3 decades? And why a fence has to now be erected? What is the purpose of the fence against these neighbors who've been maintaining this property? Terezio, you guys have been mowing all that, correct? The city, we've been taxing you on this pool. So they've known you've had a pool, but now all of a sudden it's so egregious that they have to take legal action against you. This is what I'm struggling with. So we understand the city got their legal right to do what they're doing. I just wanted to bring it to your attention to see if there's any appetite to help these folks. I don't know. We may have to consult with somebody to see if there's any legal action we can take on their behalf. I just think lifelong townies deserve better treatment from.
I'm going to ask the city to respond. One other question, Mr. Donahue. You said you couldn't appear in court. Was it that you couldn't make it, or you were not allowed? I didn't understand that because your lawyer was there, right?
He was, but I was not invited because what had happened was the first time when they went in, Mr. Marcello was the only one that did the speaking.
It's not true.
The second time, when I filed the appeal, because I didn't fill the paperwork out, they were having it squashed.
So what was the appeal to?
It was to the court.
Oh, okay. But your lawyer didn't bring you with him to court, or her to court?
No, because the second time when they were going was not about, it was about, because I didn't win the appeal because I didn't fill the paperwork out right, which I didn't know because the second lawyer I hired was after the fact that I filled the appeal notice out because I had to do it quick. And I'm not a rocket scientist. I just thought I would.
No, that's why you hire lawyers, right?
Right. But I filled the paperwork out to find this person before I found this person. And he looked at it and he thought we were all set, but we weren't. So there was a glitch in the paperwork. So all it was about was the appeal was to be denied and I was to get off the property. Not the fact where I could go in and state the fact of what I'm stating the fact here.
Okay.
Which we were trying to rectify.
Mr. Marcello.
Thank you. So it's a little unusual to speaking about an ongoing court case in public, but Councilman wanted it in public, and that's what we're going to do. So I think we need to begin with the facts. First of all, Mr. Donahue has just indicated that he can't find the survey. Nothing prevents him from doing another survey today. No survey has ever been presented that indicates that our survey was wrong. And he's had every opportunity since September 16th, 2021. Can I speak? Because
You can, but can you keep it to the time?
Well, he's indicating that he can't find a survey, and any property writer, if there's a dispute over where the line is, you would normally get another survey. He has been promising us a survey, the city.
Right, but he's not disputing that you won.
So let him finish, and you can come back.
So anyway, the first correspondence we had with Mr. Donahue was back on September 16, 2021 from my office. And we indicated that because we're in the process of revitalization of the Grassy Plains Park. During that process, we had a concern about some of the material that we saw in the park. And frankly, the city wasn't sure whether it was our stuff or someone else's stuff. So a survey was done. As a result of that survey, which does front Tango Drive, we determined that there was a severe encroachment by the Donahues onto the city property. So we wrote to him, and it says, based on that survey, it appears that there's a significant encroachment by you on the public park. This is a public park, by the way. Obviously, these structures will have to be removed, which include a pool, shed, and a pump house. Therefore, upon receipt of this letter, you are asked to contact my office so that the proper remediation plan can be implemented. That was the first letter he got from my office. Then on 10/5, I got a response to my letter saying that they were in the process of relocating a survey that was done and that they asked for more time. And I said, that's fine. If you have a survey, please present it. Then on 12/2/2021, they said that were unable to find the original survey that he mentioned and that they were going to order a new survey. No survey was ever produced by them. And at that 12/2/2020 letter, they asked to purchase the property for $1.
No, that's not true.
Well, that's what I have in your letter.
That's not true.
Okay, well, I have it in your letter. And by the way, the council should have all this correspondence. Sorry. On 11/16/2021, they asked for another 60 days to find the survey, which I granted. You can please find the survey. We were trying to work with him. We don't like to take residents to court. And time again, we asked the Donahues to please remove the encroachments. There was another case that's pending for encroachments. The city's obligation, specifically when there's a public park, is to prevent encroachments on city-owned land. We do that as a matter of course. This is not picking on anyone. We do that as a matter of course. I've asked Robin from my office, who's been here a lot longer than we have, and she says we've done this periodically when we're aware of it. On 12/21/2021, I rejected the offer to purchase the property for $1. And I indicated that we would be seeking legal action if they did not remove the encroachments. That was in 2021 in December. After some repeated correspondence, trying again to work it out, hoping we would get some progress, I had no choice but to file suit in November of 2022 for trespass and injunctive relief, basically saying, please remove your stuff, whatnot. They were served on 12/08/2022 in hand. The Donahues filed a counterclaim against the city saying, we have a right to this land by adverse possession because we occupied it for 20 years or whatever the period of time. I then filed a motion to dismiss their counterclaim. Again, they're seeking to claim the property by adverse possession. I filed a motion to dismiss the counterclaim on 3/29/2023 with a hearing date of 8/1/2023. During this entire period, no survey was ever given to me indicating that the city was wrong. No action was taken to remove any of the encroachments, which, as you know, if you visit the property, is a well, is a pool, is a shed, it is bricks, it is yard debris, dirt, broken wheelbarrows, broken lawnmowers, all on city property. You have the pictures. I sent you the pictures. As was their right. Again, by the way, Mr. Donahue was represented by counsel during this whole process. So to suggest that we were somehow being unfair or whatever, this is a court. I don't make the decision. A judge makes the decision. On March 30th, 2023, they objected to the motion to dismiss, and the motion to dismiss the counterclaim was heard on August 1st, 2023. From March 29th to August 1st, 2023, nothing happened. Nothing happened. The Donahues didn't try to reach out. They didn't say, well, we agree, the property line is correct. We'll remove our stuff. On 8/1/2023, the court granted our motion to dismiss the counterclaims, basically saying that you cannot get adverse possession against a municipality, a state, or the government. And there's a public policy reason for that. The city, the state, the federal government does not have the resources to monitor its property line. So if we allow people to encroach on city property and then claim adverse possession, then all type of public land is up for grabs. That's the public policy behind it. And it is as old as the law in England that you cannot get adverse possession against the king. And in this case, the king is the municipality, the government. The court granted our motion to dismiss the counterclaim. So that is now away. We still didn't win, however. We then filed what they call a motion for summary judgment. Here are the facts. Here are the issues. They're undisputed. Court, what do you say? We filed that on 5/13/2024, which was given a hearing date on 7/16/2024. The Donahue's lawyer, which is their right, filed an objection to our motion for summary judgment on 6/27/2024. On 7/16/2024, by the way, they filed what I consider a pro forma objection. It was an objection, one line, No affidavits, no survey, nothing. On 7/16/2024, the court granted our motion for summary judgment for injunctive relief and a finding of trespass against the Donahues. They were ordered to remove all property by 9/1/2024, except for the pool, because it was in the middle of the summer, end of the fall. And we agreed that they would have until 10/1/2024 to remove the pool. Mr. Donahue then filed an appeal on that order. Again, I want to stress that other than a pro forma objection, we object to the city's motion for summary judgment. There was no affidavit submitted, no competing survey, nothing. They had every right to present contrary evidence at that hearing. They did not. That's what due process is. They filed an appeal. Mr. Donahue filed an appeal. Yes, pro se, absolutely, on 9/9/2024. That appeal was filed, not by his lawyer, who was still in the case, but by himself. And that same day, his original attorney filed a motion to withdraw from the case, which was granted by the court. And then on 10/29/2024, we objected to the appeal, and there was a hearing on that appeal, and the court granted our dismissal of the appeal. It's not my obligation as the city's lawyer to help someone who's suing the city to figure out how to do an appeal. They had lawyers. We then filed a amended order giving them until the end of December 2024. So now the appeal is dismissed. Judgment has not entered. And by the way, the triple damages, under the statute, if we're forced to remove the property, we have the right to ask for double the amount of damages it cost us to remove the encroachments. We have given him since July of 2024 to remove the property. They were under a court order to remove it. They did nothing. They have a court order. Please remove the property. They did not. So we have no choice but to say, yes, if you don't remove the property, and I have the letters, you have the letters. If you don't remove the property, we're going to hire someone to remove the property, and we will ask the court, it's not automatic, we will ask the court for treble damages. Treble the amount of work that it needs to get, cost to remove it. They had until 12/31/2024 to remove it. Nothing has been removed. A new attorney entered, Robert Flaherty, who I happen to know because I served with the legislature. He was the attorney who tried to resurrect the appeal. He was unsuccessful. He met with the mayor. He met with myself. And he indicated that he understood that there was an encroachment on the property and that he would do his best to try to get this removed, get this resolved. I had a meeting with him in January. I sent him a letter, I think soon thereafter, saying, please remove your property by another deadline. I think early February. He said, that's not enough time. Can you extend it for us? I did give another extension. And eventually, Councilman, you got involved. And I said I would not do anything until until I was able to brief the council. And that's where we are today. The no harm argument is we have someone who's encroaching on city property.
For 30 years.
Whether it's
30
one
years.
day or 30 days or 40 days.
Again,
Can I finish?
Well, you're going over something that he's already admitted.
Okay, hold on. Let's do this. I think the city's established that they were within their rights. So you don't have to,
We would like to know why
don't have
it's
to
so
go on.
egregious. You have to put a fence up.
you have the floor.
And why was the letter sent to the neighbors after I got involved?
Because you asked me to.
I asked you to put a fence up?
No, you asked me why weren't the other neighbors not notified of their encroachment? I specifically said to you, the reason why we didn't indicate to go after other neighbors is because their encroachments were an extension of a lawn. Not as an encroachment with a shed, a well.
But now you're putting a fence up. What
No,
changed?
it says a fence or other similar structure. That's what it says. And today we met with Mr. Rizzio. The letter's in the file.
It's harassment.
The letter is in the file. Today we met with Mrs. Rezio and
DeRezzo.
I'm sorry, DeRezzo. I should get that right. I'm sorry. And she indicated she has concerns about a fence, and she indicated that maybe it's a good idea to just stake the boundary line with some kind of granite markers or something like that. And frankly, the mayor was receptive to that, and that's what we may consider doing. But it doesn't remove the fact that we have somebody in the city who's significantly encroaching on city property, including a pool. Luckily, this pool
That the
is above
city
ground.
knew about.
No.
You're taxing him on it, Mike.
We're not taxing him on the land that he's using, right?
Are you paying taxes on a pool that's over their survey line?
Is he paying
Yes, I am.
Is he paying
Yes.
taxes on 40,000 square feet of a city park that he's using as his backyard?
He's offering to make amends.
40,000 square feet of the top.
Pretty little big.
Okay, I'm gonna hold on, everyone.
So anyway, that's where we are in the case.
I'm gonna determine different people have the floor. This is unusual in that it's not a public hearing. Its discussion is generally not legally allowed. However, I've been very liberal in allowing public to speak.
But the court case is over.
So we're.
Our case is still pending because he hasn't removed his encroachment.
I'm allowing it, but one at a time.
All right,
So that's okay. So Councilman, you have the floor.
I'm just asking the council if you feel that there should be some kind of negotiation to solve this rather than putting up fences and making them take down stuff. Why are you pulling up the shrubbery and stuff? Is that not petty? You're in the woods. What's the purpose of pulling that up? You know, it's spite.
Yeah, I don't know about the shrubbery, but I
And it's in the letter from the landscaper saying, we're going to charge you $5,000 to pull up the shrubbery and the fence.
But I just heard that this fence was maybe an option. There might be markers, so I don't know that a fence is definitely going the whole length of grassy plain.
I have a question on the pool.
So, Council Vice President, you have the floor.
I'm hearing back and forth that being taxed. What does the assessor's map and the assessor, we all have cards. Is that on the card that you are being taxed on the pool? Because it says, and I know on mine, if, other other properties or other structures, is there on this card from the City of East Providence Assessor's Office, does it state that you have other objects or structures on your property?
Yes, it does. It states there's an oval pool on the property, and as of 99, it was at $1,000. So I don't know what it is at the present, but I've been paying since 99. Well, that's what we can find right now, but we can't go back to when I put it up 2009, excuse me. But when I put the pool up in 99, I don't know if it's on the, because we can't go back that far. So I've been paying taxes on it, and it's not like, and that's the whole thing. Everybody knew about it. It's not like it was a hidden gem. Like, back then you could go on whatever and look up the property and they would zone right down on it. After this all started and whatnot, there were drones being flown over my house to see what was going on.
I'm sure that's untrue.
No, it is true.
There may be drones flying over your house. It has nothing to do with the encroachment.
Well, there was somebody.
Can I follow up on your question? Taxes,
Can I just finish?
for 1 second on the pool. I thought, and I could be totally wrong, I don't have a pool, but I thought people paid for in-ground pools taxes, but were not taxed on above-ground pools. Isn't that correct? I don't know if.
You're saying it shows on your, I took it down because, when I purchased my house, so
Was it on
many
your
moons
neighbor's
ago.
land?
No.
Gee, thanks.
All right, thanks. No, I didn't take down the pool, but there was a structure.
No, I meant the comment about being on the neighbor's land.
Okay, my point is, it will show structure, sheds, etc. Even when so it is showing this oval. You said oval
Correct.
on your property, so
Correct.
that's the thing that sort of wrapped up now is that this city, and I'm not saying this administration, but this city has known for a long time. So it's almost, it's like grandfathered. It's
Councilman, there's no grandfathering on.
no,
when you
no.
approach
I'm just
a line.
saying I'm just saying it's not like this just happened a year ago. I mean, I am not saying two wrongs make a right, but there's the city, people before us made a mistake. And now all of a sudden, I mean, all the rest of the property, and from the pictures I see, I don't see, 40,000 square feet. I'm in 40,000 square feet buildings all day long, and it's not 40,000 square feet. Maybe I'm wrong and I'm missing something here. But I find this, we're supposed to be a user-friendly community, and over a swimming pool, the culture. I mean, if it was more, if it was right in the middle of the park, but everything I see here, I mean, let's come to, we're in a society, and I'm hearing every politician in this city, in the state saying, let's work together, let's get back, let's be united. So I have an idea here. Let's come up with a compromise. As long as they have this pool, as long as they own the property, they maintain the pool. The day the for sale sign goes on that lawn, or there's a transfer, which obviously we would know in the city records, in the clerk's office, in the assessor's office, the pool goes away. Why are we fighting? Why am I wasting our time where we can't get back right now to hear about a swimming pool? I want people to be here and enjoy themselves. And I'm not saying they're right or wrong. And like I said, two wrongs can't make a right. But we got to compromise here. We're not talking about that they went out and they put, a 5-story she shed that wasn't, long. Well, an illegal, and there's many of these in the city. And I've lived here my whole life, and I know there's many illegal additions in this city onto people's property. It's a pool. It's enjoyment. It's 3 months out of the year. Why is this such? Why are we making a molehill out of this? You've been to court. This is what should have been done beforehand. Some sort of a compromise, because and rightfully so, you've gone to court to represent the city. And I know you didn't do that out of the goodness of your heart. I know you charged the city, which you have the rights to. So why are we here for a swimming pool? For a swimming pool. It's working with your mankind. And I know you're going to talk about the legal, this and that, and I understand, I get it. I've owned property. My family's owned a lot of property in the city. But we're talking about right now, in the 21st century, on the 4th day of March, 2025, and this country's in utter chaos, and we can't compromise on a swimming pool. That's all I got to say.
Can I just respond to that quickly? Thank you, Councilman.
Yes,
I do
please.
appreciate your comments. First of all, it's more than a swimming pool, as I indicated. Yeah. Okay. So the concern that I have from the city's perspective is we now know that this pool is on city property. Okay. Part of the pool anyway is on city property. And there may be liability associated with that. If someone, God forbid, were to drown on that pool or dive into that pool and break their neck, we now know that that pool is on city property. It is not the city's obligation to make sure that the structure is on someone's property line. It's the homeowner's responsibility to make sure that when they put up a structure, that it's put up in the proper fashion.
So in my compromise here, and I hear you, and I own 2 small businesses, and I get the liability, and I get it. Again, this comes back to the compromise. If it's there, and you're a very good lawyer, and if we can come to a compromise, we're saying that God forbid somebody slips in the pool, somebody does this, it's not the city's responsibility, it's the Donahue's responsibility. I know we can draft something like that. And if they got to pay additional taxes for the time being on the property, then let's do it. I mean, we're talking everything else, if it's got to go, whatever, everything like that. But to make these people take down a swimming pool, and we're supposed to be we want to be bringing people into the city, and we have enough issues going on that in the city right now as to why people want to come here. And if I'm watching this, and again, if I'm watching this on TV and I'm deciding between this and that, that, and again, I want to be user friendly. I want this place to be open and nice. And did they make a mistake? Probably. From what you're saying, if you go by the rules of, the boundaries, yeah. Was there malice? I don't think so from what I heard. These people are just trying to enjoy a swimming pool in
All right, I'm
quality
gonna
of life.
let's move on. Does anyone want to add anything new that we have not heard tonight?
I'd like to add something.
Councilman, please, you have the floor.
I came into this decision making with the Donahue's property, trying to find the pictures when I went and met Connie. It's Connie, correct? Late to the party since it began in 21. Nice people. Took some pictures of the property, walked around. I didn't know the value of it as far as the city side goes or the responsibility of it. Hearing Mr. Marcello speak and fellow councilmen, I'm always in favor of compromise. Matter of fact, my phone call was to the mayor the same day. He didn't discard that at all. He just said we were already in legal, which now I find out why. All the information I've absorbed from that day I called after meeting you until today. It's a situation that I would like to compromise, and that's what I said. And I don't know if Mike's aware of that, because you've offered to pay. I'm not sure you're paying taxes on the pool, sir. Above ground pool, you don't pay taxes on.
I am. I have the
Ground you
card.
do.
I can find the card.
In ground you do, not up.
No, it's above ground. It's on the
I'm
thing.
not going to dispute that, but
But
don't
no,
know
I'm
if
just
the-
saying I can
I
show you
don't
the
know if the
card.
mayor said anything about you with the powerful witness you have, but my first thing I was taught was to go right to the source as a young man.
Mhm.
So have you ever asked the mayor, instead of listening to a third party, if he did in fact say those things you say he said? Just a question. Yes or
I'm going to answer you honestly. No, I did not.
I wish you would have, because
Well-
I like to do that myself. Because a lot of things have been said about everybody, including myself, and I like to go right to the source. That's number one. So I'd like to work with you on behalf of like Mr. Lawson and the families involved. But the city has a legal stance, and I'm not a lawyer. So my opinion is just like Mr. Rigo said, hopefully to compromise. It's well into legal. I understand, Michael. I understand all that. And I'm not the judge, but a compromise, maybe monetary. What Mr. Rigo said, the paperwork establishing that we don't have any rights. I mean, we don't have any legal boundary to it as far as somebody getting hurt if the pool stays. I'm just a man of an opinion of 41 years in the city of East Providence trying to help people. And that's what I said to you, Connie, when I met you. So that's my stance. Whatever happens with legal and yourselves and your attorneys, I'm for the residents to get, hopefully, some satisfaction without being this disappointed in this kind of.
Okay, so it's not down for any kind of a vote tonight. It's not our purview to vote on this, but I think it's good that Councilman Lawson brought it forward and we had the discussion. We've heard from everybody, so it's time to move on. I would give Mr. Donahue the last word, but before I do, let me say what I'll do going forward without objection is we'll have a couple of us, because we can't do it with more than two people other than an advertised legal meeting. So a couple of us on the council will sit down with the attorney, the mayor, and you or your representative, and just see what the next step is. It is currently in court with a decision that has already been rendered. So we'll have to see where that goes. but, we'll go forward as quick as we can. I think things that maybe were done in the past, lots of things were done in the past that none of us were here for, and doesn't make them right. But it sounds like you've put in some good effort to offer to either purchase. Now, we supposedly have a letter where your offer was for $1.
That's not true.
Okay, we'll look into that. We'll look at the letter when we sit down. And do you want to add anything new? Because we need to move this meeting along.
All I want to say is in closing.
Yep.
In closing, this is, I'm just really hurt, the whole thing. You know, I supported the mayor when he was running. I was able to raise some fund money for him through the political action committee with the union that I work with. And I've also was able to establish people also to donate to his cause. And when he came to my house, when he was campaigning, he had asked me, is there anything that you'd like to see in the city? I would say, yeah, I would love to see this park taken care of because it's been dilapidated since the early 2000s.
Absolutely. Always been ignored.
So he says, well, that's when he said we talked about the soccer fields. I says, oh, absolutely not. I says, these neighbors are not going to want that. There's no room for parking or anything else. And that was the end of our discussion. So that's why I got heated, because I'm like, I talked to you about this. I raised money for you and you're making me look like a fool. You know, when you work with somebody, just like if I was working with you. So that's why I got upset. But as far as all these appeals and whatnot, and I never offered for $1. I offered to pay more than $1, a lot more than $1.
Do you have that in writing somewhere?
I don't know what the lawyer said.
Well, you did it. Do you have
I told the lawyer that I would pay more than I said, I do not want that property for $1. I will pay for it.
Why would your lawyer? Well, anyway, I'm not going to.
I wasn't in the meeting and whatnot. And a lot of these things about all these appeals, that really didn't happen. There was only 2 appeals.
All right. I think we've heard. You want to add anything, Councilman?
Are
you willing? We'll sit
I
down.
believe there's a compromise to be had, and I just ask that the administration, at a minimum, if they can keep the pool and take down the fence and bring back the shed and the loose stuff beyond the property line, to me, that solves the issue. But when you're going after them saying you're going to pull up the shrubbery and stuff that they planted, and then you're putting up a fence, you know, like 100 yards behind a wall of trees.
Council President,
Yes.
I just want to clarify the record because I think my integrity has been questioned as well. On December 2nd, 2021, I got a letter from Mrs. Donahue signed by them. I'm just going to read a portion of it. We propose that there is a simple solution to this matter, which is both our interests as well as the interests of the city. We will agree to purchase any portion of the yard which we currently utilize for a nominal fee of $1 and agree to pay property taxes on such property from this time forward. So they did make an offer for $1. I just want to make.
Excuse me.
Didn't we sell the Oddfellows for $1?
It's right here, ma'am. Well, I have the letter. So then I have the letter. Is it okay?
No, none of this.
Can we get a copy of that letter?
Yeah, it's in your packet.
It's in
Yeah,
there?
I think we did. All right. This is
didn't
going to
happen.
conclude this discussion. I think we've heard enough. Well, can you do it quickly? Okay. Let the Mr. Vizendes have the floor for a quick second. Mr. Donahue, could you step aside, please? Thank you. You can stay and you can come back, but just.
Mr. Donahue. Council President, thank you and good evening, council members. I know that Mr. Marcello went through everything, so I'm not going to continue, but I just wanted to provide a statement on behalf of the administration in that, for the record, is that the city does, the administration does take the position that the city does not give away city property. And that was all that I wanted to do. Thank you.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll ask if you're willing, Councilman, and one of us can join you and let's sit down and,
Okay. Okay.
But also,
yes.
my closing statement,
Yes.
not for anything. I understand where you're coming from on me, but the mayor was also able to put an ADU unit in his yard and then go and have it zoned after the fact when the whistle was blown. So I'm not,
Okay, that's not here or there with
I'm
this
just
discussion,
saying.
but
so you're coming after me.
Nope.
And he's, I don't know where he's coming up with these paperwork, but I never signed anything like
all right.
that. Or my wife wrote that.
so the
I'm very
council's aware
disappointed
now.
with this gentleman.
We'll see if there's a compromise to be had.
Mail to me. I mean, I'm sorry. I just
Okay.
have to say. I don't,
Thank you. I'm all set, Council President.
the letter's in the packet. We've got it December 2nd.
Okay.
You can look at it. Thank
It's
you.
part of the record. But thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Donahue. Thank you for coming out. I mean, the case is played out in public. We'll move on. And the other residents who came, thank you. Thank you. So we will revert back to the agenda. One other change, I believe that Director Borges, which item is that, Councilman? We want to move that up at this, under the resolutions. Second, Director Borges, if you want to forward at this time and identify which part of the agenda that you're on.
I was asked to provide the council with an update on the paving program, as well as I think there are a few resolutions that I can certainly.
So for people watching the meeting and people here, Madam Clerk, can you help us? What page on the agenda is that request or the?
Resolutions are on page.
No, specifically with Dan.
Related to the
There will be page 5.
yeah, page 5, and then there were a few items under mayor communication.
Okay, so if you want to proceed, that's fine.
Sure. So the first item was regarding the city road improvements. I did print some packets for the council here, just to provide you with the roads that are on our preliminary plan to be paved for 2025 during the season. So I'll hand these out to you.
Thank you.
What section is that one under? Mayor communication. It's under mayor communication. It's mayor. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes.
So I did just want to give the council an update. As you'll see here, there's a total of about 28 streets, totaling just shy of $2.4 million, 90 square yards of asphalt, ranging from Ward 1 to Ward 4. These are streets that have been cleared by the gas company and all other utilities. This is all being done utilizing the paving money that was allocated by the council at the previous.
So barring emergency mishaps, the utility companies are already cleared this, and this would be your list of priorities.
Yes, these are the roads that we intend on paving this season.
You did not put this list together because some of us came to you and requested for a constituent or a friend. I know I didn't. This is your professional priority.
These roads are the roads that are in most severe shape in the city.
Okay.
That we are comfortable and confident that by paving these, we hope to not have to dig into them anytime soon. So that's typically, our position.
What's the timetable?
So all these streets, hopefully pending weather, should be completed by the end of this paving season. So between whenever they start and November. So in addition, on top of this, I'm also just going to provide the council with a brief update on the cleaning and lining project for the water.
Mm-hmm.
This also is somewhat related to paving because there are a significant number of streets that you probably don't see on this list that you say, why aren't they on this list? Well, between the roads that we have already approved and signed off on for paving, there is also a fair amount of roads that will be paved to a certain extent as part of the cleaning and lining. So I will provide the council with a map. It is kind of small. I will provide it via email as well, so you can actually, break down the areas more granularly. But
Could you describe what you mean by cleaning and lining?
Cleaning
For
and
those-
yes, sorry. So
It's okay.
So the city is is undergoing improvements of around 20 some odd $1 million the council approved to clean and line our water main. So what that means is the water pipe we will cut 2 access points into a roadway, typically replace the portion of pipe or the valve in which the pipe is connected to. We'll bring equipment in. The equipment will essentially clean the inside of the pipe, and then we'll go back through, or the contractor will go back through and put a new cement coating on the internal line of the pipe to bring it back to its original size and to provide good quality water to the residents.
Yep, thank you.
I'll pass these out just so you have these.
First of all, I want to compliment the director and his staff on the outstanding job that they've done and with these many snowstorms that we've had. I think
Thanks, buddy.
we didn't see our work last year as far as the pre-treatment, but you can see that the pre-treatment has worked a lot in these little mini snowstorms that we've had. So I just want to say hats off to the director and the entire DPW staff for this winter.
Councilman, I remember when you used to walk to school.
I did because I lived a street up from St. Margaret's.
I am going to reach out to you about the sidewalks on Willett, why they put an asphalt in between the concrete there. Are you aware of it? Okay, thank you.
So the asphalt on Willett Avenue is just a temporary measure throughout the winter.
Okay.
They put that there as they were not able to complete all the ADA ramps with cement. So those will be taken care of. As I'm sure you're aware, part of the cleaning and lining project, one of the maps that I presented to the council does have a fair amount of work being done on Willett Avenue so that we can stay ahead of the paving that will occur this spring. So I'm sure you've seen the contractor out on site replacing water services at the moment. So we are doing all the utility repairs that we have to. Thankfully, the state was willing to push the project back a little bit to allow us to complete this work. So we will get that completed, and then Willett Avenue will be complete.
Very cool. And then I'll go after JD Mart. You guys are doing so much awesome work to make that place beautiful, and they got a shit or get off the park, Cumberland Farms. I'm sorry.
And then the final item that I have here is related to all of the gas work that is being completed in Kent Heights. I'm sure that many residents have seen newly paved roads being cut into, which is extremely unfortunate. And the city has met with Rhode Island Energy to discuss our expectations of what we'd like to see there. So I have a few other maps, but just to give you a brief synopsis on this, we do have maps here that sort of indicate the roads that they are cutting into. And one of the requirements that the city had when Rhode Island Energy came to us after having cleared all of the roads that we had newly paved was that if they are going to be cutting into these roads, they must be paved curb to curb the entire extent of the roadway, regardless of whether they're doing work in the road or not.
And that's by ordinance, right? Didn't you and Bobby Brito, when you guys passed that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're actually,
We can't, I'm sorry, but we can't stop them if there's a break or a leak. They have to fix it. So,
I understand, but once
Then
they
they-
fix it, they have to pave curb to curb and
yeah.
not those single lines.
right.
well, they only have to pay. I think the ordinance does read curb to curb. However, it's only, I think, 20 feet in both directions of the actual excavation. So
Do you want me to update? We'll update the ordinance if you feel the need.
we feel confident in the power that DPW has in
Okay.
engineering when we review the excavation permits for these utilities. We're confident that we can essentially stop them from doing the work or not getting it done. But we felt that this project was important to the reliability of gas to the residents of Kent Heights. So we felt it was necessary to allow them to do this, obviously at additional cost to make sure that the city is not, we're not cutting into the road. So I'll provide you these maps as well, just so you get a sense of the roads that have been impacted, which includes Pawtucket Avenue. I know that's been a big issue, that Pawtucket Avenue is in very bad shape. So I did talk to our contact at Rhode Island Energy, and they did indicate that all these roads should be completed in the early part of July. Pawtucket Avenue may take a little bit of extra time because they do have to remove the extents of the temporary patch that's there and put in the concrete roadway base that is below the asphalt before they can pave that permanently. So it may take a little bit longer, but they will be paving that curb to curb.
I have a question for the director, and it was Councilman Lawson just brought it up, and he complimented Council President Rodrickson, at the time Council President Brito, now Senator Brito. So prior to that being worked out, and prior to the change of form of government, my ward was the first ward in the city that had that National Grid at the time started replacing the old gas lines going into people's houses. There are numerous streets, and we've had this discussion briefly, you and myself, in regards to a lot of the roads now that predate 2018. As a matter of fact, it's probably 2015. We go back. The Rumford section, Ward 1, they started that probably back in 2015, 2013, replacing the lines, and they did the patches. And there's numerous streets, again, that are up there that have all these patches. And what's happened over time is that the patches have gotten worn down. DPW, your people before you got your crew goes out and tries to fix these patches, but these streets now are getting sinkholes. Is there any way? And we shouldn't be on the line for next year to replace these streets. I mean, they created this mess over 10 years ago. And, we've talked about certain streets that are really bad. That something's got to be done. I mean, especially now. I mean, we all got phone calls, and I know the council president has on the topic about the price that we're paying for gas and electric. I mean, it's pretty tough when the roads are a mess, and it wasn't created because of it wasn't created because of water. It's created because of messes. Is there any way that we can go back and get more bang for our buck instead of us being on the hook for these streets? There's going to be sinkholes in these streets.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to how permits were taken out 10 years ago. However, we do have the ordinance that council president had voted on with the previous council. But there are some obligations that Rhode Island Energy also has to the PUC. So they are regulated by the PUC. So just because the city, the road could be in horrible condition, and they come in and put a gas main in, they're not necessarily required to replace that roadway curb to curb, because that is beyond sort of their responsibility. So it's it's a case by case situation. If it's a newer road, we have a little bit more power and authority to sort of limit what they can do. However, if the road is already in poor condition, we don't have the ability to enforce them to pave curb to curb, because at the end of the day, that would, we're already seeing it, but that'll ultimately impact the ratepayer far more on the gas side than it would if the city was to, conduct some of the paving efforts. So it's sort of a case by case basis. It's not really a great answer, but any of the newly paved roads, which you'll see here, we're holding them accountable. But some of the older roads, it's they don't necessarily have the obligation to do so.
How long has RIM been? A year now since they bought National Grid? 2.
Yeah, probably
Yeah, how's your experience with them?
same people,
Okay.
different names, same people.
Like our sewer plant, they changed names, same guys.
Well said. Thank you very much.
Yeah, if you need any,
What I'm going to suggest is between the city clerk and maybe Councilman Lawson, I know you're doing work on the city council social media page. And also we can ask Chief of Staff Rezendi. Now this list, it may already be there, but this list of 28 streets is not that cumbersome. So maybe we could put that out on our page, just like this. Here are the 28 streets, the cost, everyone can see that. Councilman Fogarty does not have your street on here, I'm sorry to say.
Oh, Dan,
Well,
just through the chair.
yes, please.
I am totally dissatisfied with Rhode Island Energy. Miserably dissatisfied. The dips everywhere, and I go all over the city. As you know, I've seen you in many spots and other people. Horrible. It doesn't matter if it's curb to curb, the dips and that's occurring, like you said. I know it's winter, so I'm patient. I'm waiting. I'm looking at the list. I'm thankful the list is getting done thanks to you and your crews and the dedication we have, but I'm not impressed, and I hope they're listening. And that's why I called the mayor and Mrs. Rezendes to get the Rhode Island Energy here, and also for the taxpayers and the increase in the seniors that are paying for the delivery charge and other fees they hide in there and slip in there. That shouldn't be on us or the seniors. There should be a compromise, and they got $47 million profits annually on both gas and electric. We should have somebody helping the people with the rates. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have a little more to say about that later also.
And
Thank you, Director.
I'll defer to Patricia's expertise. I'm sure the city's going to write something up, so I'll just put what they put out on our social media page.
Yep, sounds good. That way people can see it. I mean, there's just the 28.
Yeah.
No sense in trying to read them off tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure her and Matt. will
There'll be
grab-
others, yeah.
I'll just, yep.
we can provide clean copies instead of you scanning them in, Andy. I can send you electronic copies so that they're higher resolution.
Thank you.
If there's anything that the council needs on the resolutions, I know you had mentioned that. If that's something you want me to provide feedback on, I can certainly wait as well.
Well, no, while you're here, there was a resolution. If you have any questions for the director, where are we? Page?
For me, for the no parking?
I think I would say it would be, Pawtucket Hot Mix, Fuss and O'Neill for the stormwater hydraulic analysis, Arcadis Inc. for the assessment and sewer and structural rehabilitation at the wastewater treatment facility, and sort of the final step to completing the animal control.
So page 7, number 2, resolution authorizing.
Make a motion to approve.
You see that? Number 2, this is the hot mix. Motion made by Councilman Lawson, seconded by Councilman Fogarty. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have that, 4-0. Also on page 7, number 3,
Make a motion to approve.
and just for the public's edification, this is the contract with Fuss and O'Neill Engineering Services. This is the citywide stormwater hydraulic analysis we've talked about. Motion by Councilman Lawson, seconded by Councilman Fogarty. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, 4-0. Thank you. Number 4.
Second.
Oh, yes, this is also, well, go ahead, Madam Clerk, if you want to read number 4, so.
He's got a date with Ben and Jerry's.
Resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Arcadis US Inc. to conduct an assessment and structural rehabilitation to the final clarifiers at the East Providence Water Pollution Control Facility, sponsored by Council President Rodrick.
Motion to approve.
Motion, Councilman Lawson, seconded by Councilman Fogarty, as described earlier by Director by Dan earlier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Guys, have that 4-0. There's something else, Dan? Or?
Final upgrades to the animal control facility.
5.
Okay, could you read number 5, please, Madam Clerk? On page 8.
Resolution authorizing the mayor to replace flooring and purchase furnishings for the final upgrades to the East Providence Animal Control Facility, sponsored by Council Vice President Rigo.
Council Vice President, do you want to add to that?
They're doing a great job.
Motion to approve.
Motion, Councilman Lawson to approve, seconded by Council Vice President Rigo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 5 have that. 4-0. The ayes have that.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Yes, if it's about the end. Oh, the other one. Sure. Which one? Okay, so if we go back to page.
So can we
7.
hold off on that? We got folks here for their licensing. You're talking about the traffic lights?
Okay, we'll go back to the
Yeah.
regular. Madam Clerk, we'll resume
We
the
may want to table that till Lana's here too.
regular
Consent calendar.
regular order. I think we did the consent calendar.
Licenses for discussion and possible vote. A motion to bundle licenses.
I'll make a motion to bundle.
I'll second that.
Motion by Councilman Lawson, seconded by Councilman Fogarty to bundle. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Is there a motion to approve?
You
Or
all set,
reject?
Frank? I'll make a motion to approve unless you got. I'll make a motion to approve to start the conversation.
I'll second. You don't have it.
Motion to approve by Councilman Lawson, seconded by Councilman Fogarty. Is there discussion on these licenses? Yes.
Correct.
C1 through C9. Don't see anything controversial, Madam.
I can actually vote on all of them.
Yeah, no liquor licenses,
So we got a motion and a second.
the block parties and entertainment. And do you have any questions on any of them?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have that, 4-0. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Good luck.
Public comment. All persons wishing to make public comment shall sign in.
You have the sheet? But Tom could bring it up. Okay. Watch it. Thank you. Under the public comment and sign up for tonight. Can't read the first name. Mr. Lopes, Taunton Avenue, are you here? He left. Candy Seal, welcome, come forward. You are very welcome. Thank you. Here's name and address for the record.
Thank you. Candy Seal, South Rose Street, East Providence, Rhode Island.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. For your information for the members of the public, on March 13th, the Waterfront Commission and its subsidiaries, the Design Review Committee and the Hearing Panel, will hold public hearings on the signage variance that Marshall Properties is requesting for its Metacomet development. As you may recall, in December, the Commission approved Marshall's application to build out the remainder of the site, the 890 residences and the 153,000 square feet of retail and commercial space. Marshall had asked for 3 variances, one on parking spaces, one on fenestration, the ratio between solid walls and openings such as doors and windows, and one on signage. The commission approved the first two variances, but denied without prejudice the one for signage. Marshall's current plan calls for a monument sign at the entrance to the development from the parkway that reaches a height of 21 feet. That's pretty darned tall, certainly dwarfing any other sign in the parkway, and contrary to every regulatory document that says signage along the parkway should be limited in size and scale, more in line with a commercial strip such as Route 6 or Newport Avenue. We do not know what Marshall will propose as an alternative, what height it will be, but we do know that East Providence zoning regulations, section 19-442, say that the maximum height for a monument sign is 8 feet. 8 feet. You may be thinking, what does this have to do with us? It's out of our hands. Well, there's the obvious fact that you represent the residents of East Providence, and I think should be concerned that our culture and history may well be thrown to the curb in the almighty desire for economic progress. Aside from that, though, you hold the responsibility of ensuring that our city's zoning ordinances are enforced. Again, you might think, this is in the waterfront district and we have no authority over it. Well, actually, section 19-470, which covers the waterfront district, says that the provisions of this article, quote, shall not preclude an applicant, developer, and or property owner from the requirement to meet other provisions of Chapter 19 zoning, end quote. So it comes back to you. The developer's consultant on comprehensive plan consistency assured the commission that Marshall would be happy to discuss signage with the city. Have you heard from them? Time is running short to make a difference. Hasn't the time come to prepare a document, a statement, or a resolution that expresses your concern that Marshall is running roughshod over our zoning ordinances? That such a sign is contrary to the regulations of the 2003 Waterfront District Plan, which is embedded in our city's comprehensive plan? From here, Marshall will head to the state regulatory agencies. These agencies, the Scenic Roadways Board and RIDOT, among others, will consider approval not only of the monument sign, but another on the planned roundabout at Lyon Avenue directing drivers to the 85,000 square foot grocery store, as well as the widening of lanes in that area. Keep Metacomet Green, which I represent, urges you to take a stand for East Providence by standing up for the integrity of the iconic and historic parkway. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The only thing I would add is I thought the little I heard from the last, watched a little bit of the last Waterfront Commission meeting. Some of those members were not in favor of the height, that sign. So I'm hoping they'll take that into consideration. I don't know. I haven't heard anything from anybody since then, so I don't know. But I would support what's on the books, obviously. We would have to, I would think, zoning and signage. And I'll also, at this time, without us getting into a big discussion on it, would go on record as saying I am not very supportive of a roundabout in that area. I think the facts are that they work. We know that they work. It's not going to work there. They don't work well in Rhode Island for whatever reason. They seem to work elsewhere, but we've had the chaos at the Henderson Bridge. I think eventually that's going to work out okay. There's room there, and they're going to cut some new roads through that talked about doing years ago. So I think that will work. The parkway's narrow. I don't really see the need for it. You know, maybe they could widen. I have no problem if we keep the lanes, but if everything is just widened a bit, and like they've already done a couple of spots on the parkway where they have a turn lane. That's safe. That's good to do for safety. I know when I come up the parkway, I'm heading south and I want to turn on Broadway. I now have a little lane that I can pull over and cars can keep going by me to point south. We didn't have that way back. So that was a good change for safety. And in a couple of other areas, I think there's one of the streets, Mountain, or one of those areas where you can turn so the cars can move over a little. So that can be done in front of the Metacomet, whatever the name's going to eventually be. So that's where I would support. And we do have an opening on the Waterfront Commission, there was a person who resigned or put in his time. And I believe, as the history shows, would be an appointment of the Ward 2 council member. It can come from anywhere in the city, but the council member from Ward 2 is up now for that appointment. So I've asked her to consider that and make an appointment and get someone aboard soon, because they're almost done basically with a lot of the commission stuff. So that's a little bit of where I'm at right now.
Through the chair.
Yes, Councilman Fogarty.
Off subject a little bit, but on the parkway, I would like to see a red light outside that Kettle Point area because it's very dangerous coming around that corner.
Yeah, I know the lights are trouble. There's some kind of prohibited policies that don't allow that. So
I will say, as far as the signage, I'm with you guys 100%. There's no need to make it look like Route 6. I completely oppose. They wanted a 21-foot sign. I know we don't have time between now and the meeting to have like a formal resolution, but if you guys are like-minded, maybe we could craft a letter to the Waterfront Commission stating that we'd like to keep the parkway and not Route 6.
And I'm okay with the sign,
Not
you
that
know,
size,
not
but-
that size.
No.
You know, it's maybe set back a little, but you want people to see it. Otherwise, it could be an accident waiting to happen. People come by too quick and don't see a sign. So there needs to be something, but not 21 feet high in the air and not right up on the street. You know, a decent looking sign, set back a bit. That works. Yes, sir.
I echo the sentiment of what you first said about the parkway and about the sign. And having done a lot of travel, and I don't want it to be like the run of the mill shopping plaza. If this is supposed to be upscale, make it upscale. Make the sign. You don't need that size sign. I mean, and I don't want the city to be, you know, I don't want developers coming in here and thinking that they can just do whatever they want to do, and make the sign right to fit in to an upscale quote unquote property. I don't want this to be turned into Home Depot.
May I, Council President?
I'm sorry. Yes, continue.
I just, thank you, Solicitor Mastrella. I just sent down a visual
Okay.
of what is currently proposed. We don't know what it will look like, what their alternative would look like, but it's certainly not a sign that is anything like it's on the Parkway now. It'll be listing their retail tenants, much like you'd find on, as I said, on Route 6 or Newport Avenue. As you said that from what you knew about the Waterfront Commission, that some of the commissioners had been resistant to the sign, and that's why they denied the variance without prejudice. So it could move on to the state agencies. And I, as an individual and as part of Keep Metacomet Green, am very encouraged that you would all be willing to issue some sort of a statement expressing your concern. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for speaking. I think Mr. Donahue probably signed this, but he didn't need to. I believe he is left out for his license, right? Mark Vieira is here if you want to come forward. Just mark your name and address for the record.
Mark Vieira, 168 Ivy Street, East Providence.
Yes, welcome.
Council President. This is actually came up already, and I guess I appreciate Mr. Councilman Wilson for seconding the parking on Ivy Street. So I guess it's coming up. There's only one thing that needs to be fixed on that, as far as you have from Waterman to Blandon, both sides. Our street, so now there's no parking on one side from Central Ave all the way to Top Ave. So it's not both sides, it's only one side. So that's the only thing that needs to be fixed on that. Other than that, I appreciate it. I want to thank everyone for helping out.
This is the second passage, right, Mr. Solicitor? Yeah, because we've already voted.
Yeah,
Well, I can,
Yes,
we'll talk to him, but we can fix it if it's no parking on one side already, so this wouldn't.
It's already, so-
That wouldn't override it, yeah, so.
right. Okay.
But I'll check, I'll thank you for that comment. I'll check.
Thank you, Mark.
yeah. I'd like to thank you.
Thanks for coming and waiting. Did you sign up? Are you here? Joanne, is that you? You're next.
This is also, they could also comment during the public hearing if they wanted to.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
The area they're talking about, the assigned parking, there's 11 houses and only 8 spaces. So there's not enough parking per household. And I have no driveway, so I count on street parking. But so I don't know how you're going to do it.
Right. Well, what we did was the best we could come up with. We reserved just for resident only parking in that area. Now, we can't do the whole street, you know, that's a public street. But we did try to at least accommodate, as Mr. Vera has many times addressed us, just that area. That's the best we can do. Okay. Thank you. I see Renee here. I think, yes. Renee Ignacio, would like to come forward. Welcome. Just name and address for the record.
Renee Ignacio, 15 Madeline Drive. I'm not here to attack you guys tonight. Usually that's the way it goes.
We have a big sergeant of arms in the back there, so we're not worried.
Yeah. I'm just going to pass that out now. I've already been in front of the school committee for this. So I'm going to now be the most hated person. But I'm actually here on behalf of school bus cameras on our buses and our vans, because our school committee, our school department, our council, even our mayor always preaches for the safety of our children. He has put cameras at almost every school zone, and they're there for the safety of our children. I think we now need to have school bus stop bombs on our vans and our buses. They already have them, and cameras. So I just wanted to read this like I did for the school committee. So our buses have stop bombs, but our minivans, I don't know if you've seen them driving around, don't have any stop bombs. There is nothing to tell people to stop except for what you see on the
top roof.
So people don't stop. We drive special needs kids around. We do door to door. They get off on the left side. People say that the buses take too long or we're not considered a bus. They don't have to stop for us. That is not true. Our special needs kids will run at a split of a second and they'll go across the street because they don't know. Some do, some don't. I've been doing this for 16 years. I've almost gotten hit by cars. I've had to pull kids out of the street for people that don't stop. So I'm asking that maybe our city council can work with our school committee and our school department and make this happen.
So just to be clear, we don't operate the school buses.
No. I know that. I
And
understand
so
that.
we can't put the,
No, I'm not asking you, but what I'm asking is that the city as a whole, the school department as a whole, and the school committee as a whole can all work together with everybody for the safety of our children, come up with a plan and do something. If the school committee needs help city-wise to do something.
We can definitely work together. If what you're asking specifically is for the stop arms to be on the vans.
I've already been to the school department.
Sure, but just let me finish that. As you probably know, I mean, those are all regulated by State Department of Transportation,
Right.
State Department of Education. If we wanted to tonight, we couldn't vote to say put a stop arm on.
No, that's
Those
not what I'm
vans.
asking.
Okay.
What I'm asking is that if, say, we wanted to do something together as a school department and the city together to promote it, I'm asking that we can,
To promote what? Putting the arms on?
if we get to the point that we can do that, if we have a company that comes and does something for us, if the city can help us promote it or do whatever,
Have you reached out to the bus company to see if that's something?
we're working on it.
Okay.
But I'm coming to you to let you know that I'm trying to get this done.
Okay.
Because we're here for the safety of our kids.
And you got,
I have an
And
idea.
I'd also like to, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'd just like to, with the police department too, to get help because like I said, we can't, as van drivers, we can't write down a license plate and give it to the police department and say this person went through our reds and give them a ticket because we don't have proof.
I know the vans don't, but I thought the buses had a
They do.
camera.
Oh, I don't know what the camera is.
Not all
So-
buses.
Not, okay.
Not all buses.
No, we'll definitely get in touch with all the parties, everyone involved, from the school department, police department, state, and if that can be done, I'm one person that would support it. So we'll, it just doesn't come solely from the council.
And it,
Wanted to bring it
Yep.
together.
Yeah, no, I
and it,
appreciate it.
is your primary concern the special need vans? Or,
My primary concern is everything. The buses, the van.
right, but the bus has already got the stop sign with the aid that
Yes.
comes out.
Right.
And so you're more concerned about the smaller transportation vehicles?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
I
thank
think
you very
everyone
much.
here supports what you're trying to achieve here.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Mr. President, I would ask that we draw up a resolution saying, sending it to our delegation, asking them, I know it maybe the clock is ticking up at Smith Hill to introduce legislation that all newer vehicles, smaller vans be equipped with the arm. I think that's probably the way to go.
I think that might be step two. I
Yeah,
think step one is, are they available?
Yeah.
And is it doable? Put it on a low car or van, and then if it is,
or
we can,
worst case scenario, even if it's not the arm, those small vans should be equipped with and the cameras are easy.
Yeah.
You
they
can
do
buy
have the light
cam-
bar on the
You can
top.
buy the cameras to stop.
Sure.
And, we don't need to have, a child get hit in this city. Thank you.
Through the
Thanks. Thank you, Renee.
comment, Chair.
Yes, Councilman.
We're all 100% supporting of nobody getting hit, nobody getting hurt. I'm in confidence with your school committee reps that they're doing all they can do to make sure this happens, and that's where it's lying. I definitely hope it goes forward with the.
Well, my next step is to go, because it isn't a Rhode Island state law yet, for our vans to have it. So I'd like us in East Providence to maybe be the first in the state to be
Sure,
able to do it. And
negotiations, yeah, with the.
I'm hoping with the confidence behind the city council and our school committee that we can work together
Sure.
with that.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Definitely gonna happen.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Along those lines, I would acknowledge and thank the school committee chair, Mr. Dave Lewis, who's here tonight, and his assistant chair, Tony DeSimas. Thank you for attending our council meeting. As noted before, we are working very closely with our school committee. Is Joanne LaFord here? Oh, that was you. You were down twice here. Okay, you're all set. Thank you. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Appointments, a reappointment of Chris Leroy to the East Providence Public Library Trustees Board. This is a 3-year appointment starting April 3rd, 2025 through, there's a typo on there. It should be April 4th, 2028. Councilman Lawson?
So Mr. LaRoe, this is just re-upping. He's coming up due, I believe, next month. So he's been doing great work, and I got a chance to hang out with Nate Cahoon and stuff. We got some good people looking out for our library, so I humbly ask that we reappoint him.
Is that a motion?
Make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilman Fogarty seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Councilman Rigo, do you approve of that? Okay, the motion passes 4-0. Next item.
Council members, number 1, request for plan to use remaining ARPA funds allocated to former Oldham building. Councilman Lawson.
So this is just asking the administration, I think there's probably probably a little under 200,000 if there's a plan to utilize. We know it still needs doors, roofs, HVAC. I don't think we need a consultant to tell us that. So just asking what the plan is for the remaining funds for this property.
Yes, do you have a update or?
And I do have a the presentation that was provided to the council recently. I don't know if you have it in front of you, but I can email that again this evening. But if you recall, when Director Borges and Director Gatto was here, sorry, when she was here last, they did go over the presentation. After the Treasury rule, we had to obligate all of the funds by December 31st, as you're aware. So all of the funds, all ARPA funds at this point have in fact been obligated through all of the different projects. So they've all been used at this point to button up the building. No additional funds at this point.
You spent $1 million in that building?
Well, it did say up to 1 million.
We allocated $1 million.
It's in the presentation. All of it was used. And at the very end, during that same presentation, it provided the breakdown of all of those funds, all the MOUs, what the funding was used for, and I'm happy to share that again, if you like. I can go through all of the different line items, but everything that needed to be done for the building has been done. We can't expend any additional funds on the building until the completion of the feasibility study. So as you know, we had that community meeting. We received input from community members, and there was a presentation by our planning department as to what to do with the building. So we're still in the process. And as you know, the feasibility study still isn't fully complete.
Thank you. I think Councilman Lawson, you have the next item.
We just want to know what the tax rate is.
Oh, right. So we did get a memo on that. I think the basic answer was that until the revaluations are completed, the tax assessor said she has not yet set a specific rate. I don't know if, Mr. Solicitor, if you have any additional, let me ask it this way. So assuming that, okay, we have to have the revals done. Until that time, if we're at a time period when a rate has to be unknown, would we just keep the status quo until, or does the current rate stay in effect until?
Oh, no, we'd have to set a new rate before, the new rate would be set before the next, for this fiscal year. So the assessor gave you a memo.
Yes.
What outlines the time frame. It is delayed this year. I shouldn't say delayed. It is delayed. I guess the word is delayed. We cannot set the tax rate until the assessments are done. So we're in a reval year, and that pushes things back a lot actually, because we have to wait till the appeal period runs and whatnot. So people have a right to appeal. So that's why it's taking so long. But this is unique because we're in a 3-year revaluation period. This is not unique. This happens every 3 years.
So my only question here is that in October of 24, when we passed the fiscal year 25 budget, and again, I don't remember the bottom line, say whatever the budget amount was, we knew what it was. We knew whatever we approved. Again, I can't remember the number. So we knew that. And we knew the levy at that point. So from an operational standpoint, and things change, they're moving because of the reval. But on the first day of November of that new fiscal year, take our budget, take the levy, divide it, and you get the tax rate. We should have something on rate on going that process. So what you're basically telling me is that the old tax rate stays in place. I mean, if, for instance, the assessor comes back and it happens not around here, but I need 6 more months because, between the appeals, the company that was doing the field work, there's delays and we got to delay it. Tax bills have to go out. So in theory, we should know what the old rate is based on our operating budget, divide the levy, and we come up with the tax rate. That's,
You can't do that because
what Sarah did is great here telling me the project, but
the tax rate has to be set based, I'm sorry to interrupt it. The tax rate has to be assessed the tax rate has to be set as the evaluation of 12/31/24. When you pass a budget in November, we don't have that date. So we have to set a new tax rate and that will be done. It will, and as she outlines, it should be done by May. And so that tax rate will go out and you can't use the old tax rate because
I understand it's gonna adjust. But,
So by May, they'll have it.
I'm just, again, I know the levy is going to go up because real estate has continued to go up. So
the tax rate should go down because the levy's up.
The tax rate goes up because the levy is
The levy's up, the value is higher,
and the levy's going up, and the tax rate
should drop.
So,
All set
okay.
with that? Thank you, Council. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Number 3, request to know if the city can assist with a Hometown Heroes initiative and if they can produce the banners in-house. Councilman Lawson?
So this is just to let you guys know, I think I mentioned it. Newman Ave, Seekonk, they have these banners of veterans. And Tori Jessup, who's part of our Veterans Advisory Committee, brought it forward that she thought it'd be a great idea if we do it here in East Providence. So I reached out to Patricia, and this is just to get it into the public. People start being aware. We can do banners in-house, so I just wanted to see if we could do that. And once we know that they can be done in-house and the relative cost, the Veterans Committee, we're going to meet, I think, in a couple of weeks. We'll start fleshing out, most likely we'll ask families if they want to. Remember when we first did the flags, people would donate in the name of a veteran. Start that way. We'll figure out the appropriate number. You want a high visibility road. The Riverside, we already got the Memorial Day parade with the flag. So someplace, somebody mentioned Taunton Ave, not Taunton Ave, Pawtucket, because that's kind of what goes out through the city. So that's the overview. So Patricia, if you just want to give us an update of what the city can do.
Sure. Thank you, Councilman Lawson. I know we discussed this and how it could go about, but we had a thought in regards to just a logistical way that we could do this. And that would be putting something on the website, like a form, which the family members would fill out, and they would provide all the information about the veteran, and then, show whatever it is, the DD, whatever the verification is. So that way people aren't just entering a name and we're making banners for them that we could verify. So that way we could put a call out, they could add it to that. I did inquire about the cost. There are 2 different banners. One is small and, and not as visible, if you will. One is larger, and the larger one is approximately $80. I know you talked about how it would be great for family members to come forth with the information and then do that purchase. Obviously, our DPW crew would be willing to, just as they are now with the current banners, to hang those. It would be very helpful if they're all the same. So that way the brackets remain there for any banners that need to be placed and pulled and whatnot.
What do you mean by the same?
So for instance, if, so the same size, right?
Oh, God, yeah. It's all going to be uniform. The look is going to be uniform. Yeah, absolutely.
Just because otherwise then we have crews.
Yeah, no.
Brackets down, putting them back up. It's easier that way. So I'm happy to work in with the committee to create that form and what we feel would be necessary to be included and verify, and people can upload a photo, a copy of their the DD. Is it 214? I should know this.
DD 214.
14, yes.
Yep.
That form.
Okay. So the only other thing is maybe if we could ask Dan realistically how many we should plan on. Like, we don't want to overwhelm. Should we start with 20? Less than that?
I think we put the call out for, to see what the interest is from folks who are willing to do it. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to put them all out at the same time. I mean, it could happen in phases too, but I can speak with Director Borges.
Yeah, just a realistic number. Like, we don't want to inundate them. Like, say, oh, we got 200 people.
Right.
So, okay, perfect.
Thank you.
And if you guys are in, like I said, Newman Ave, they have,
Yeah, there's a lot of nice ones around. Different communities do it. Barrington has nice ones.
East Providence is awesome with its support of veterans, and it's home to many of us, many of us.
And we have to thank you and Councilman Fogarty for keeping that committee alive, because committees can back off and they ebb and flow, and that's a good one. Thank you. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Request administration into replacing the dock at Bold Point with a floating dock. Councilman Lawson.
So this is just a statement, doesn't need an answer. I've had, my brother's a boater. I've had many friends come up and say, Bold Point's looking good, but the dock, it's a fixed dock. So as the tide rises, you lose more and more of the dock. So I'll send an email request to see if there's some DEM funding or something. We just replaced the one at Sabin Point with the thing. So basically, it's just a floating dock. As the tide rises, the dock does.
And there was a good review about what's going on at Haynes Park.
Yep.
The Riverside portion of it, where a sunken boat has been removed, and the city between the harbor master and the mayor decided to just take charge if the state's not doing it. And so we're getting there, the waterfront. Thank you for that, Councilman. Next item.
Number 5, Narragansett Bay Commission treatment plant on Campbell Avenue odor complaints. Council Vice President Rigo.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think you've received a couple of these emails. I've received numerous emails, as well as many phone calls in regards to this matter. I remember when that plant first went in many moons ago, and the smell was horrendous through most of Rumford. In the last 10 or 12 years, it has not been an issue, but it seems, I don't know, it seems in the last 6 months that it's becoming an issue where we are getting complaints from the neighbors going out. I don't know if there's different chemicals they're using, or it could be even a change in management as far as implementation of certain programs down there. But it's very distracting, especially in the summertime, with the people who live on Campbell Avenue in Nevada and all the streets along that way, as well as it overflows onto Wannamoyset in the area on Thatcher Street. So I would like the city to look into it, to reach out to the Narragansett Bay Commission and try to come up with the solution as to, why all of a sudden this is becoming a current continuous problem at the plant. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Get the departments to work on that. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Railroad update. Council Vice President Rigo.
I defer to the city solicitor. I think he might have some information on this situation for the people on Algonquin Road and the rest of the railroad way.
So thank you, Council Vice President. At your request, I made some calls to try to figure out who actually owns the railroads. P&W is currently a corporation, but it's owned by a holding company called Genesee in Wyoming, I believe. I did have a contact with one of their vendors, believe it or not even someone from the company. I let them know about the complaints we were getting about the railroad, the debris. They said it's a very common complaint across the country. I indicated to them that it was unacceptable, and they suggested that I send a formal communication through this vendor, basically, who would get it into the proper hands. And I'm also looking to see if PUC has any authority, though I don't think they do. So I will get, as soon as I send that correspondence, I will send a copy to you so you'll see it. But I at least finally got a contact person because it was very difficult. Because again, P&W somewhat exists as a corporation, but they're not actually operating the railroads apparently. So thank you. Subsidiary, something bigger. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Next item.
Update of Fire Department's Rescue Mutual Aid Call in 2025 to date. Council Vice President Rego.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just again need an update on, mutual aid calls coming into the city. It's concerning, and it's been something that has been an issue since even before I got elected here, and just trying to. I know, we go back to the 5th day of December in 2023, and I just, again, we all want to make the city better, and just trying to stay on top of it, because it's a tough situation when you're waiting for a rescue to take a loved one to a hospital. Again, fire department does a nice job. They have the equipment, but an engine can't transport to Rhode Island Hospital or any hospital. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to comment on that, Director, or do you want to wait and get a full report from the chief?
I have it.
Oh, you have it. Okay.
So Council President and Council Vice President, I'm not sure what you would like me to do. I can read each sheet, or I can provide you with the copies. I could read it into record or provide you with copies, which would make it part of the record.
Well, I mean, simple, easy. All I'm asking for is, since January 1 of 2025 to, to the end of February, I'll say, did we have 45 mutual aid calls? Did we have 35? What's the number? I mean, that's all. That's what I'm looking for, the amount of mutual aid calls. And again, I think I sent this request via off my phone. There were specific hours of that we were looking for the mutual aid call, but
I'll pass this out rather than.
So if you have that broken down by, it's more by time wise and everything.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. 2024.
So we do have a report from the chief. For instance, in one section of the report, and for the general public watching the meeting, times of the day for EMS calls, both dispatched and received, have also shown consistency in 2024. EMS mutual aid is most frequently provided between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Okay, and then to give some time, but you're looking for the numbers for like the runs, right? The last month, which is in here. There are charts.
He has that in there.
Right, I'm just reading it, so I don't know if you picked it up yet.
But, I mean, numbers are skewed. And of course, there's the mutual aid calls, because 9 to 5, we know that there's many medical facilities in the city here. And that taxis the service. I I need to digest this a little bit
Sure.
more.
Yeah, we all
But-
do.
I mean, we just got this now, which was great. We didn't ask for it last minute, but
Why don't we digest it in the next meeting? Let's talk specifics. In a couple weeks, we can hone it down rather than trying to read it now. Unless you have a specific observation.
I mean, again, we know it's going to be higher during the day because of those medical facilities. So I get that. And I got to look at the grid. I got to look at the grid of the time.
But you were talking mutual aid mostly, right?
Well, yeah. Well, this is mutual
Right.
aid given and mutual aid received. It's broken down on his second page.
Right, but not all runs to those centers are mutual aid. They're just direct runs.
No, but I'm saying our rescues are going to be up normally during those times, anyways, when people are
Yeah.
working. So it's going to there's more calls, so that's going to increase your mutual aid during that time too. If the rescues are out, that's the point I'm trying to make, is that we're always going to have more rescue runs during the 9 to 5 because of the buildings being
Sure.
open. I mean, that's logical. I mean, we're skewing with numbers. I mean, but anyways, we got to digest this more. I thank the administration and the fire department for this, and we'll dig into this. Thank you.
Thank you, Council VP. Next item, Madam Clerk.
1 sec before we proceed. Could I ask my fellow council person from who's handling our PR or our website, could you somehow get this on there so that people, because I get these questions all the time, and if I get the phone call and they're sitting in front, I can tell them to refer to our council website to go over this information.
Yep, I'll put something together.
And
You got
if
it.
I may, Council Vice President, we'll send that digitally so that way it's a clean copy versus taking a photo of a printed version.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, number 9.
East Providence Restaurant Week, June 15th through June 21st. Council Vice President Rigo.
So what I'd like to do with this tonight is appoint Council Vice President Rigo to chair a subcommittee along with, for tonight's purposes, Councilman Lawson. I think Councilwoman Souza also wants to be and has been very active in this area. So in that membership, that committee can go back and forth. So if, without objection, if we want to approve that, and then if you have some comments tonight, Council VP, but we can come back more specifically with a plan. We know that worked well last year, and the businesses need some specifics again. So if you want to add to that.
No, well, first of all, as you said, it worked well last year. I'd like to get more involvement. I'd like to get, everybody involved in the city, to help this cause. This isn't just, we started it, but it's not a city council initiative per se. I want it to be the city initiative, first of all.
Sure.
And
Yep.
it's to publicize. I know last year we had some Monday morning quarterbacks. We're not like Providence where we have a lot of sit down, white tablecloth restaurants and everything like that, where they're going to have preset menus all the time. This is to showcase the hardworking men and women that own predominantly, independent restaurants in the city. And if they just want to have a special of appetizers one night, we don't need that. They don't need to have the criteria of, say, again, restaurants where we have 5-course meal at this price and everything like that. Some people might run, again, appetizer specials, whatever. This is to bring notoriety around the city, around the state, to the fine restaurants that we have in the city of East Providence. And, we have many. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just let me go on record saying Riverside's the foodie capital of East Providence.
Foodie. Before this gets out of hand, next item, Madam Clerk.
Number 10, discussion relating to citizens' complaints about rising gas and electricity rates from Rhode Island Energy. Council President Rodrick.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So everyone in the state and the region knows about the rising costs of energy. We as a city council hear it, excuse me, hear it every day. So I preemptively, of course, we have nothing to do directly with setting rates of utilities. However, if there's no objection from the council, I'd like to draft a letter from our city council to support some legislation that has been introduced at the State House. I believe the main person is Representative Megan Carter. It has also been co-signed by our own House Whip, Representative Catherine Kazarian, and others. And basically, this would be legislation that would put a limit in state law on the profit that can be reaped by the utilities distributing electricity and natural gas in Rhode Island. We know that Rhode Island Energy, other utilities, seeing record profits, and we had the recent sale. I won't read all of the notes that I have here, but in a recent sale when National Grid went through another party and then to Rhode Island Energy, one of the CEOs involved there had received a 31% raise for a salary of close to $12 million in 1 year. And maybe it's deserved, but on the backs of people paying exorbitant amounts to keep their homes warm and to have electricity and heat. And I think there's room there to maybe live on a little less than 12 million a year. And I'd like to try a lot less than that and maybe help the ratepayers. Some of it has been ridiculous. People are reporting getting bills of $300, $400, $500, $600 and more, $100, $700 or more. Something has to be done, and it is the PUC, the Public Utilities Commission, that is the agency that can determine this. Now, each year they seem to approve the rate increase requests. And I know it's more than just paying we say Rhode Island Energy as the example, they are the main supplier. I mean, it's more than just paying their staff and others. They have to report out when there are outages. They have to do some research. They have to do work. They have to replace on my street. Recently, a whole pole had to be replaced because 3 transformers blew up. And they were across the street from a pump station, which was critical to our sewage plant. So things happen that aren't planned for and aren't in budgets. So the energy companies need to be able to cover that. And they did come out quickly and did the work. But it doesn't mean that we can't control the profits a little more. So in any event, if you don't object, I'm not really asking for a vote unless someone is opposed, but I'll draft a letter. I'll show it to everybody, and we will send it to our delegation of legislators and requesting support for this legislation that will put some limits on the profits. So hearing none, no objections, I'll pass that along to everybody shortly.
So
Thank you. Next item. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to?
That's okay, Council President. Thank you. And thank you, Councilman Fogarty. It was just to notify the council that we've been in touch with Rhode Island Energy and they're working to have a team of representatives here at your next council meeting. But I'll confirm that once we get a little closer.
Thank you. Have the guy come that's making $31 million.
I'll try my best, Council
Yeah.
President.
Yeah.
On his yacht. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Thank you for arranging that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public hearings, ordinance for second and final passage for discussion and possible vote. 1, an ordinance and amendment of Chapter 18 of the revised ordinances of the City of East Providence, Rhode Island, 1998, as amended, entitled Vehicles and Traffic. Article 10, entitled Stopping, Standing, and Parking, is amended by adding thereto the following section: 18-317, resident parking only. A, the following street shall be designated as resident parking only: Ivy Street from Waterman Avenue to Blending Street. Do you still want me to say both sides? Both sides from 5 p.m. to 6 a.m., weekdays and Saturday and Sunday, all day. Introduced by Council President Barb Rodricks and Councilwoman Anna Souza.
Thank you. I don't have anything to add. We've talked about this quite a while. We've met with the neighborhood. We had that meeting with the Myrtle, and place had a lot of people here. So this was a good resolution, I believe. We are allowing some residents in that immediate area to have resident-only parking in front of their house. We have got a couple logistics. We've got to make up the signs. We've got to make up stickers for the cars. So that'll take a little bit of time, but we're going to work on it. So this is a public hearing. Any comments from anybody here in the public?
Did we cover your concerns?
Yeah, Mr. Vera is concerned because of parking on both streets, but that'll be handled.
Can you just clarify which street so I can look into that a little bit more carefully? But
Thank you, Mark.
Yes, no problem. It's just the Ivy Street. But Ivy Street, if like I said, from Central Ave all the way to Taunton Ave, there's no parking on one side.
Already, right.
Yeah, all the way.
so Ivy Street from Taunton to where? I'm sorry.
It's like Central Ave all the way to Taunton Ave, Ivy Street.
Okay.
It's only one side of parking because the street is so narrow. So we only have one side to park anyway. So it's not both sides, it's one side.
Okay, well, I'll check on that. We can make that change if we have to, but I think it's important to get this
As
process.
is,
Yeah.
to get it going.
Obviously, this wouldn't override the other ordinance anyway, so we'll check into that. Thank you for that clarification.
And I, just to further, because I mentioned the Myrtle, I stopped by there the other day. There was a local resident having a birthday party. The place was pretty well crowded. Parking seemed okay, and the noise level was fine. And the compliments from people who were there about the business were good to hear. And the neighborhood seems to be, so far, I'm sure Mr. Vera will keep us posted if things change, but so far so good. Thank you. Oh, I shouldn't have said anything.
Way to go, Bob.
Only one thing.
Okay.
Vice President Rigo, I just want to know as far as the parking bin, the last couple we had.
No parking bans? Yeah.
Parking bin. We appreciate there was an officer that actually came up the street with his sirens and his the bullhorn and everything else. He had actually came up and put the spotlight into the Myrtle. Now, this is an hour after, and I actually sent the picture to Diana. The parking ban was already in effect. So I walked up the street. We already had our cars off the street, and I appreciate the officer coming up. But they pulled up in front of their place. They went inside and they served them. So then they parked in front of our house. I watched them go up there, so I walked up and they served them. So an hour and a half later, I called the police. You can check with the police department. This got me upset because the officer did a nice job. I appreciate him. He came up and down the street with the sirens and let everybody else know that my neighbor was in the basement at the time. I'm sorry my other neighbors couldn't show up tonight. There was babysitting problems. But he could have went to Vine Street, Anthony Street, and helped out the other residents in the neighborhood. He had to come back, sit in front of the Myrtle, for 25 minutes. And now he had to wait until they actually finish their drinking and then come out and move their cars. So that's the only issue I have. I don't know if they have a special thing where they can serve liquor when there's a parking ban because they don't have,
Well, the parking ban doesn't affect their hours of operations.
yeah, as far as parking in the street.
Well, yeah, if there's a parking ban, you can't park, but the business doesn't
Business
have
can
to
stay
close.
open.
They can still, that's what I was
Yeah.
saying. But they was parking like in the street and then Waterman Ave, and then the offsacks, you had to stay there
I get you.
until they came out.
Yeah,
And,
those,
you know,
Was this the Saturday night one?
yeah.
Yeah, because that was tough trying to determine the time, because you didn't want to hurt the businesses, but you still want to be safe.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It was probably at that point, it wasn't really snowing, because that's the one that took effect about like at 1 o'clock in the morning or so.
Oh, no, not that one, the one before. That one there, they actually started moving earlier. The one before that, when it was started to snow early. Well, you can call the police about it. They'll have it, actually
Sure.
have it. But he actually had to come back the third time and actually had to sit there and wait till everybody to leave. So
the bands are not easy.
yeah, I thought that was kind of disrespectful, but
We'll keep an eye on it.
I appreciate
Yep.
it.
Thank you.
So if this passes tonight, this will be
Yes.
effective May 1st. So the
No, no comment public on this anymore. We need to move the meeting along. We've had a lot of discussion on the Myrtle and the parking, and I know. Yep,
You're getting the resident tag though, right?
yep. Talk with Mark. We worked it out. And there's only so much we can do with, yep.
Yeah,
So, yep, best that we could do with that. Yeah, talk more with Mark, and he'll help you with
May
that.
1st, council, if this passes.
So this is there any other discussion in the council? I'll close the hearing. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve. Oh, I'm
The
sorry.
hearing's closed. You don't need a okay. Motion by Councilman Lawson, seconded by Council Vice President Rego to approve. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. 4-0. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Vieira. Joanne, thank you. Next item.
New business, Mayor Communications, Chief of Staff Patricia Rezende.
You get a bonus if you can go through this quickly, Ms. Rezende.
Gonna say it's on record now.
And she's gonna share his ice cream.
Actually, I'm happy to report that almost everything on here has already been covered by Director Borges. If the council so chooses to accept the 3 proclamations as is, I know that you've done
Is
that.
there anything you want to read?
The one thing, so it's Women's History Month.
Whatever you want to read, we're going to sit and listen.
Heritage and Greek Independence. These are annual ones, so I won't have to read them into record. I'll just submit them. However, I would like, if the council's okay, I would like to be able to point out that we have opened our nominations for our 2025 Remarkable Woman, and we open that and we will close it on March 22nd. With we have a temporary date for the ceremony and the event of the celebration of our Remarkable Woman, and we've already started to receive nominations. So if you know a remarkable woman, please go ahead and submit. And we would want the public to know that as well. And that is all.
The only thing I want to add, I've had a few people, it's great, our events, but they take place during the day. Like we got the Irish American coming up March 17th at 11:30 a.m. I understand why, but I just needed to convey that there's some folks that, can you guys do something when we can attend?
Well, there's also, so we've done a lot of events in the evening. We have found that there isn't always great attendance. We also, with our flag raisings are usually brought to us by folks in the community, organizations. And in this case, our Irish American one is done by a staff member on a completely volunteer basis. She purchases everything. She does everything on her own. We try to assist, but that was her choice because we also honor someone in the community and that was their availability. So with that one in particular, but
Very cool.
we've tried them in the evening, and people have said, can you have them during the day? Council President can tell you that as well. So,
All right.
Difficult, but good point, because.
but I will tell you, the
Same thing.
Remarkable Woman celebration is always an evening event, and we always try to do it on a Tuesday evening before a council meeting. But in this case, it will be a Tuesday evening, but unfortunately, it won't line up with an actual council meeting. But that one will be in the evening.
So President wants to know when Remarkable Men Month is.
Well, as soon as
It's every month,
oh, that was good. That was good.
Oh, man.
right?
That was good.
Wow.
Thank you, Ms. Rezende. Next item.
Report of school committee liaison.
You guys are more than welcome to jump up if you want to add anything. But a couple weeks ago, all of us except Frank, because he was working, were able to take a tour of the Martin Middle School building. It's impressive. It's coming along great. Despite all the naysayers on Facebook, it's not sinking into the ground. It's not, the contamination was dealt with. It is going to be an amazing, amazing place for education when it's done. We were able to take a tour. Everything is moving along on schedule, on budget. And the building committee, they're on top. Are you on the Martin one or the?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So things are moving along, and I just want the public to know that we're invested in investing in our school department. I think the actions of this council have been very clear that we absolutely support. We're all products of it, or some put their children through it. I'm a product of it. So they have our full support in this Martin Middle School, which will also house our pre-K, which once the building's finished, what's it called? Oldham. I keep thinking Meadowcrest. Oldham, that pre-K will end up in the new building, freeing up that building for classroom space. For those that are saying we don't have enough space in Riverside, we will. It's 2 more years, one more? About a year and a half. And then that situation will alleviate some of the numbers at Warrington. So Dr. Ferran said she'd probably get some public input to see what the preference is. Do they want it like K through 1, 2, or whatever? But she did mention some community input on how they would like to organize the elementaries down there in Riverside. And my second item is, this is just a statement. The school funding, we've been doing a great job. We created the school building fund. There's still going to be challenges. If you're paying attention to national news, there's a push by the current administration to end the Department of Education. We still face a lot of challenges when it comes to finance in our school. Beyond paying teachers and buying books, in this case, Chromebooks, there is a special needs population, which we are devoted to, making sure that they get the best education. There comes with added cost from your mainstream. There's transportation costs that keep rising every year. I believe the craft bill should pass this year, which will alleviate some of the financial burdens that the state put on us. But there's also the unintended consequence, which it could be good or bad, depending on your point of view, that as the median income in the city of East Providence rises, the amount the state gives us decreases. So we got to figure out how we're going to stop filling that gap. Because if we're getting less state aid because we're attracting more affluent residents that are raising up the median income, we have to pay attention to that. So I just put this out there now so we're aware. Our budget's a set of priorities. I've been clear the school's my number one priority. And I just wanted to put that out there so people start thinking ahead and we get ready come budget season because we're unsure of what we're going to get. So, and that's it.
Yep, thank you for that. And thank you to school committee administration for being here tonight. Next item.
D, resolutions for discussion and possible vote. Resolutions authorizing the mayor to enter into an extension of the agreement for the red light enforcement services and school zone speed enforcement services, sponsored by Council President Rodrick, Council Vice President Rigo, and Councilman Fogarty.
Is it appropriate to wait till Anna's here?
Well, I know it's been delayed already a couple of meetings.
But it's not up until December.
But if we go ahead and the vote calls for some kind of a stalemate or whatever, then we could go to the next meeting. I don't know if anyone has any general discussion or.
I got a couple that I'm going to respectfully request there's some modifications to this contract. The first one being removing the light in front, the camera in front of Riverside Middle School. The school's a quarter mile off the road. The kids that walk, they come from the back neighborhoods. We know that these, in my opinion, they're more of a money grab. So I would humbly request that we modify it to remove the one in front of middle school, Riverside. My second request would be that we remove the one in front of Bayview. Bayview has a traffic light and a traffic control officer. And for some reason, the laws of physics are different, that we only track people speed and leave in Riverside, not coming in. I don't see the need for a camera there when you already have a light and a traffic control officer there. And my third request would be to modify the times, 7 to 9 in the morning and 1 to 4 in the afternoon. And my reasoning for this is we're in an economic times that people getting hit with a $50 ticket in the middle of the day while the kids are in classrooms and not in an unsafe condition because of roads. I think it would be helpful and it would benefit townies not getting hit with these tickets during times where speed is not an issue for the safety of these kids.
So let me just say that, all of those things, I think if we go forward and lock in the prices, which was the intent here of operating this and keeping the revenue as high as it can be without us paying more, we can make the contracts allows us, changes can be made through the life of it. So we can sit down, we can make changes. I don't disagree with you about Forbes Street. There are other schools where it's maybe needed more. And I just want to quickly say there are only 2, 3, 4. We're talking about 5 schools in the entire city. The Forbes Street, which is back in the Riverside Middle School, the front end, but the students will go out the other side. Bayview, just northbound only. Ken Heights, which is such a busy part of the middle of our city. I've heard from the stores in the area. They like this because the speeding is unbelievable going right by that area. The high school, but people shouldn't be getting nabbed there a lot. There's already several lights from when you start at Waterman Avenue at the senior center. Then there's the cameras pick up. Then there's the high school light itself. Then you go to Taunton Avenue. If you're speeding through that area, you deserve a ticket. It's such a short span. St. Margaret's, and that's it. And each and every one of those zones you go through in about 2 minutes. 2 or 3 minutes tops. People just need to, the speeding is getting out of control. The accidents on the highway, cell phone use, the whole bit. But all that stuff can be discussed at some point. So in any event, that's another discussion or a motion either way. Or,
Well, I agree with you on, through the chair.
yes,
I agree
Councilman.
with you on all those statements too. And as a matter of fact, I've had conversations with the mayor and knowing we can change and do different things as far as going with changes to what you just said, Rick, with the contract company themselves. Also, the camera he's talking about at Bayview is suspect. But the more questions I have is taking over the sidewalks with the double poles, and the mayor and I have been in conversation of changing that to single, not necessarily taking over the whole sidewalks. Also, I asked him just yesterday the monies and where the monies is going and how much for the schools. And he said that a good amount of like $3 million or more gets to the school department. So I'm comfortable with the cameras still being in effect, because if I was a policeman, I'd be pulling over 25 cars a day myself easily, the way they speed in our city. And it's probably they're fortunate now that the roads are a little bit disarray. But I would like, if there's no further discussion, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
So we're not gonna make the adjustments that I requested?
Not tonight, we're not, but
So you're gonna pass the contract?
So just so you know, Councilman, the actual locations of the lights are not in the contract. That's a negotiation up between the administration and the company, and obviously with input from you. So
I can have a resolution next meeting asking that they be removed?
I don't know if we even need that. We can just have a discussion with the administration, with the mayor, and administratively do.
Do we have the power to say we want them down?
you have the power to say what? I'm sorry.
That we want to take those two locations out and adjust the times?
So Councilman saying, can we, for an instance, can we say we don't want a light on Forbes Street anymore? I mean, a camera. I mean, if that's the way administration
It's
and we
pushed
want to
back from the
go.
administration.
Well, if they don't want to do it, you know.
I just want to make just to be clear that the
That's what
actual
I'm saying.
locations of the lights are not in the contract. This only sets the price of what and the fees that we collect.
This is to lock in the rate that we
Correct.
already have, so we don't have to be going up.
So next meeting, I can put forth.
Sure, you can put forth stuff. I don't know the procedure going forward, but tonight it's just to keep the rate.
And did we go RFP to see if there's a better company to deal with?
We exercise our right to renew the contract that's currently in place for a 5-year option. So it's a current contract.
So we don't know if there's a better rate out there.
Again, I don't know that. All I'm saying is we exercise our rate. This contract had a 5-year ability to renew after the first contract was over. That was part of the original contract.
So with the 5-year option that we're exercising, at any point, to the councilman's question, at any point, a year from now or 2 years from now, or the next council, because now we're locking another potential council. You know, it could be the 5 of us, it could be whatever the number could be. It could be all 5 new people. So is there an option for them to opt out of the contract to a new company? Because
There's a way to end the contract by either for cause or not cause. That's a provision in the current
There's a
contract.
clause in it.
there is that clause in.
Yeah, I mean, there's a penalty. There's a penalty for it, but there's a.
I remember, I mean, we looked at it back in June of 23. And I look at it this way. When these cameras came about, and living near the big, living in Ward 1, St. Margaret's is the #1 speed camera in the whole state of Rhode Island, according to Channel 10.
A lot of speeding.
Nuisance. It's a nuisance. But from a fiscal standpoint, and this is only my commentary here, from a fiscal standpoint, we rely on the money. And then I basically had like 3 people in my face on election day outside of a polling place, helping the school committee person, Mr. Queenan, up there. And I've come to look at this as it's like a sin tax. Cigarette taxes go up. If you don't smoke, you don't do it. If you live in this city now, unless you're living in a bubble and you don't know where those tickets where they are, and we know there's a grace time there, then shame on you. And it happens every so often. People go by. You got things going on, and you forget the speed limit. But we know what they are. And the last thing is, I don't want what happened to that poor little girl in Woonsocket to happen in this city, and especially on my watch. Thank you.
Yep. And lastly, don't forget, you can go 11 miles over the speed limit and not get a ticket. It's not like it says 20 and you're going to get a ticket at 21 miles per hour. You've got some room here. But these are all things we've said before.
Well, to be clear, I can put forth next meeting that
There's a procedure. I don't know that it would be by an ordinance. We would sit down and talk with administration and say because to be clear, we can make changes. Tonight has nothing to do with where the cameras are. So now, do we do it by ordinance? Do we do it by sitting down with administration and getting administration to agree? I mean, I would agree that I don't want to see it on Forbes, but I might want to see it on front of, there are other schools. There's Martin Street that has tremendous.
I'm advocating for Riverside.
The way
Speeding, right.
these people speed through the neighborhoods and the back roads
Yeah.
is, I'm in favor of even the mobile ones coming forward through.
I want speed bumps.
I
Yeah.
I don't want that, but the revenue is important for the speeders that speed, and it's dangerous for our children in the community.
So we have a motion, Councilman Fogarty. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Council Vice President Rego. All in favor?
Nay.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Motion carries 3-1. Thank you all. Next item, please. Is everything up now except
Introduction of ordinances. Page 8.
page 8? Yes.
An ordinance and amendment, section 18-307, entitled Parking Prohibited at All Times of Article 10, entitled Stopping, Standing, and Parking of Chapter 18 of the revised ordinance of the City of East Providence, Rhode Island, 1998, as amended, entitled Vehicles and Traffic, is amended by thereto the following: Washington Avenue, east side, from a point 260 feet north of Bullocks Point Avenue, northerly 30 feet, introduced by Councilman Fogarty.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fogarty to approve, seconded by Council Vice President Rego. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have that. First passage, 4-0. We do have to pause for an executive session. So we will recess and come back to public session very shortly. Yes, is there a motion to, we have to. So is there a motion to recess into executive session?
Make a motion.
Motion by Councilman Fogarty. Is there a second? I'll second. Council Regal seconds, all to go recess and go into executive session under claims and litigation. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. We'll return to public session very shortly. I wonder if we could use the school. I mean, I'm on. Right, same. Two questions.
So
I do want to watch the Trump thing. On the speech? Oh, Jesus. It's apparently in
To return to,
Motion,
yes, a motion to return to regular
motion
session
to return.
and a motion to seal the minutes, which we did in executive session, but
we do it here again.
do it here again. Councilman Fogarty makes the motion, seconded by Council Vice President Rigo. All in favor? Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Opposed?
Do I need to report out? Do you want me to?
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, you got to report out.
Sorry, I'll try to do this fast. Thank you, Council Vice President.
Yes, Mr. Solicitor.
Claim of Drew Tasker in the amount of $2,223.64 was approved unanimously. The claim of Brianna Miselli in the amount of $327.18 was denied unanimously. The claim of Makita Barnes for unspecified damages was denied, and the sewer charge of abatement for Laura Francis in the amount of $373.59 was approved unanimously. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. Thank you, Chief of Staff Rezendi. Is there a motion to
Motion
adjourn?
to
Council
adjourn.
Vice President Rigo moves to adjourn. Seconded by Councilman Fogarty. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you. Special Olympic.